James Muigai was a motorcycle rider. He was beaten to death. Zakaria Mukora had come home to vote. He was shot. This is what happened last Saturday. Armed, masked men driving around town, intimidating people. Those we spoke to say police stood by and did little to help. Mariam Gishuhi says her son was attacked at a political rally. He has a head injury and can no longer speak coherently.
My child was hit here. I did not think he would wake up again. He was bleeding from the mouth and nose. His head was swollen. He couldn't eat. I had to spoon feed him.
Known locally as goons, groups of young people like this have been linked to violence at political events and public demonstrations in Kenya. They've become a common sight in recent years, sometimes operating alongside police officers. President William Ruto has acknowledged that it is a problem and has promised to deal with it.
There are people who have been defending the goons. Now we have all agreed that this needs to stop. Kenya is a peaceful country and every Kenyan should be able to go about their business peacefully.
I'm ready to do it.
We spoke to this man. He says he leads a group of young people who are paid by politicians to cause chaos for as little as $30. He asked us not to reveal his identity. You know you could die.
Yeah, I could die.
I could die, but my family needs to eat. I'd take the job. I do it because I need the money. I have no job.
So you're calling this protection, not goonism?
Not goonism.
It's a job. Some people call it goonism, but politicians reach out to us themselves. If a politician pays well, we give it our all.
Voters go to the polls next year, and many are afraid that things could get worse and lead to more deaths that people here say are senseless. Catherine Soy, Al Jazeera, Ol Kalou, Central Kenya.
Introducing Martin Oloo, who's a lecturer in public law and governance at Daystar University. He joins us from Nairobi. Welcome to the programme, Martin. So what if you can elaborate on what we've just heard there and tell us a bit more about this phenomenon of goonism in Kenya's politics? What is it and how deeply rooted is it in the country's political history?
Okay, thank you very much for having me. And let's start from the beginning. That anybody who is in politics knows that security is a very important component. And ideally, the government is supposed to provide security and is supposed to assure candidates, and anybody in politics should be assured that whenever they go in public, the chances are that they will be at peace. But that is not the case. In Kenya, we have noticed that there are a number of instances where the politicians have to resort to private security. Now, in the best interest, private security is then supposed to protect them from any possible security infringements and so on. But in the worst case, which is what we are dealing with as goonism, is that then you use this private security to attack your opponent and to attack their security detail. And that's where the problem is, so that nobody is saying that politicians should not give security a priority and should not even have private security. No, have it. But for what purposes? Just for protective aspects and maybe to ensure that when you run into hostile crowds, you can be safe. The problem we are having now is that goons or people who are armed are pretending to be working for political interests, but going on to harm, to maim, and perhaps even to kill. And some of these people are coming in unmarked vehicles, which itself is a criminal offense. And that is why we are asking, to what extent should the police be allowing this kind of unacceptable behavior?
Right, we'll get into that, Martin. But I want to know, firstly, who is driving and financing this informal repression? And structurally speaking, I mean, who benefits more from the deployment of these groups? Is it the state or is it opposition members and actors?
For now, it is the government, the state that benefits from goonism because it's using goonism with complete backing of the police to disrupt processes that they are not comfortable about. So the youth were demonstrating not so long ago, the Gen Zs. The police used goons to harm very peaceful demonstrators in their watch. That is the problem. So the state is the biggest beneficiary. Can the opposition really marshal goons and go ahead and create chaos and kill or maim without being called to order? Absolutely not. It's the business of government to ensure that there's security. And to the extent that goons are being allowed to roam without any restraint, you can only point at the state.
And Martin, I also understand that unemployment is also helping fuel a ready supply of recruits to join these bands of so-called goons. But help us with this, because given that Kenya is still deeply scarred by the trauma of that post-election violence in 2007, how alarming is it that these groups and disruption tactics are once again re-emerging ahead of next year's election?
Actually, it's very, very alarming, and perhaps with possibilities of terrible consequences in 2027, because the number of youth bulk that is unemployed is higher now than it was in 2007. The level of awareness and the level of competition is even higher now in politics. And so one has every reason to fear that unless something is done to restrain the state, to restrain political players from using goons, it will go out of hand, whether it's being funded by the state or being encouraged by the opposition. The problem is that if not controlled, nobody's safe, not even the state, not even the police. So we must work to ensure that we do not allow goonism. And yes, the solution behind unemployment is not to resort to violence, rather to give the youth the opportunity to be hopeful, to give them opportunities to be productive and in gainful employment. Not, yes, of course, the security for politicians is good, is for a short while, but the long term is that the youth need to be gainfully employed, not to be harmful to the rest of the Kenyans.
OK, Martin, it's been really good to have you on the programme. Many thanks. Martin Oloo, lecturer in public law and governance at Daystar University in Nairobi.